Lake County is a beautiful county. It's very diverse. We're a population of 32,000 people and roughly 1,600 square miles. There are 56 counties in the state. Lake County is one of them. County government, in my eyes, is the best bang for the buck you get for your tax dollar. We provide just about every service you can think of. We do law enforcement, we do 911, we do detention, we do the road department, the health department. We fund the treasurer's office, where you do your licenses and pay your taxes. We fund the county attorney's office, clerk of court. The list goes on. In Lake County, one of the things that really make us unique and stand out in the entire state is we're the only county that operates under Public Law 280.
Public Law 280 was a law that was passed by the federal government in 1963 and that allowed states to assume criminal jurisdiction on tribal members within the boundaries of an Indian reservation. Back in the 60s when the law passed, the law was specific that the state of Montana will assume and bind itself to the criminal jurisdiction of Native Americans within the boundaries of the reservation. It says nothing that the taxpayers of Lake County will assume that.
In Lake County, Public Law 280 is a good thing. I supported it as sheriff, I supported it as a commissioner. It's the right way to do law enforcement on the reservation. But when the state signed on to this all those years ago, said they'd take responsibility, wouldn't be an impact on the county, well, that's changed. It's now a huge impact on the county.
This really is a state problem. This won't work as we go forward. There's just not a large enough tax base here to assume the total cost of Public Law 280.
The legislature did an analysis, I think it was in 2017, which basically said it costs Lake County $4 million a year to prosecute the Public Law 280 requirements that the state agreed to. It would cost the state much more than that. If you start looking at trying to get rental space for offices, another jail system somehow, we're going to have to develop whole new procedures, who's going to respond, how they're going to respond. Then we're going to have to talk about whose courtroom is going to be used. I mean, it would have to be this courtroom, but we've already are so busy as it is. It's going to be a conflict all the way around. We can handle that problem if we can get the resources.
You know, in Lake County, the taxpayers are being taken advantage of. Public Law 280 is a good thing. It's a good law enforcement system for the reservation, but it's a cost that should be spread across all of the taxpayers in the state, not just Lake County. It just makes it hard to operate because we have to rob from the other departments to fund law enforcement. We have a high crime rate here, we have high drug use.
We don't have the resources we need to be able to accomplish the mission of providing for a safe, secure environment for all citizens of Lake County, whether tribal or not.
The lack of funding has really caused a problem for the sheriff's office to operate, for the court to prosecute, and for the jail to house people that need to be housed. And it's very serious at this point where we really need some help from the state.
Our financial officer here in Lake County has advised us we're at a breaking point. We cannot continue on the course we are. And we're soon looking at laying off employees and cutting services to a county that needs more all the time. We're just at a breaking point. We're in somewhat of a dilemma because there are things that we need and have to have, and there are things that we want. Like, we need law enforcement, we need a detention center, we need a bridge department because we have to replace bridges to get ambulance and fire trucks and law enforcement to calls.
Over the last 10 years, Lake County has seen a significant increase in population here. And the more people that move into an area, of course, crime has increased too.
Law enforcement is so overworked now, our jail is full all the time, the county attorney's overworked, that people are just being arrested and turned back out on the street.
This has turned out to be a major hub for drug distribution because we don't have the opportunity, don't have the ability to incarcerate people.
The only people who get into that jail is if there's an immediate, absolute, unquestionable, violent offense that they can predict will happen on that day. And they'll probably be let loose within a couple of days.
We turn away at least 80 felony warrants a month and they get a ticket and released.
They're turning away domestic violence, which are scary because you know where somebody's going to go home to if they've been brought in. DUIs, they're going to go back out and drive it. It's not unusual for me to see a second case on the same day by the same person for the same charge because you can't put them in jail. Makes me afraid for the people who come to court. It makes me afraid for the defendants who I send downstairs. It makes me afraid for all of the people in the community who somebody should be incarcerated and they're not.
So our facility is not designed to be a super max. I'm putting 14 violent people, ag assaults, homicides, I'm putting them into one block. Staff is threatened on a daily basis. We've had numerous fights where inmates have gotten hurt and had to go to the hospital with facial fractures, broken jaws. This is one of our bigger pods. This holds 12 people. We've had as many as 16 people in this pod. On each one of these pods inside this block, there are doors. Due to how antiquated our jail is, we can't get parts for these doors anymore, so we can't lock these blocks down. Sanitary wise, you can see the graffiti, the paint peeling. Because we're so antiquated, we don't have the exhaust systems that the newer jails have, so we do get some mold buildup. So this is the staff office where we do all our computer work. You can see the duct work and everything. This one's open. We have a bag over it because of the dust that blows through the ventilation system and just coats everything in dust.
Just about every office we have, every department we have in the county is underfunded. We don't have the money to hire the people to run them. We don't have the money to build them to the size that they need to operate.
That really came to my attention that Public Law 280 was consuming a lot of our tax dollars here in the county at the expense of other services, whether it's maintaining our roads, bridges.
So we have about 1,200 miles of roads in Lake County, and there's some roads that truly need to be reconstructed. Most of the bridges that we have are wooden structures that were built 50, 60 years ago, and so they're all kind of coming due at the same time. And
This is the bridge department for Lake County. It's poorly insulated, it leaks. Every time it rains, the floor fills up with water. The treasurer's office, we need more people there just to keep up with the normal day-to-day activities. The clerk of court is unbelievable. We added a second judge many years ago and didn't get any extra staff. This is the Justice Court Judge's office. This is where he does his work. I mean, his entire office is just crammed, but we have absolutely no way to expand. This has been a multi-million dollar impact on the voters and the taxpayers in Lake County. Well, counties can't go bankrupt. Cities can, but counties can't. So you just have to keep raising the taxes. You just get to a point where you can't do that anymore.
The resources have been stretched to the point where the citizens of Lake County are refusing to spend more.
Public Law 280's created a crisis for us. The last thing I want to do, but we will if we have to, is we will do the resolution to get out of Public Law 280.
Right now we have great relationships between tribal law enforcement, county and city law enforcement. They all work together. If Public Law 280 goes away, those costs are going to go up significantly. So by passing the legislation in 2019, the state concluded that they have an obligation to fund Public Law 280. And the majority of the legislature agreed with that also. So the state's just kicking this problem down the road. It's still their obligation, and it's time that they stepped up and funded their obligation to the citizens of Lake County.
This is a situation where we should sit down at the table, look, these are the issues, let's work out a solution. And I think we can do that.